This is Will's Band of the Week for August 21st, 2016. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Will's Band of the Week. This is Will, along with Barrett live in studio.
Hello.
Chris live in studio.
I thought I'd get more excitement than that. It's been a while.
It has.
It's been a little while.
Okay.
But just wait, there's more. Craig from the Ipswich Bureau.
Here I am.
Now that's awesome, right?
Yes.
How many times have we
had...
had...
First time there's been 4 people.
It might be. It's like
This
a
is-
panel.
The first time also that Craig and Chris have spoken to each other.
I believe
in
that is
any-
the case.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you, Craig.
Wow, that's cool.
I was on with Nicholas, our Australia bureau, our Melbourne bureau. But never.
You'll find me to be less less free-spirited, less fun generally.
Yeah, and well, your music journalism is a pretty good standard, but it's hard to beat Nicholas's music journalism level, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Well, everybody comes with their own skills, I think.
One thing, I never can remember this. If it was Craig or Nicholas who described something as being challenging but not confrontational.
I believe that
That was Nicholas.
that was Nicholas, yes.
He must have read that somewhere. I don't think he came up with that.
That was good.
Ever since he said that, I'm like, I've got to come up with a little bit like that. I've never said anything that pithy.
I've made that my personal motto.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
in life generally, just to be challenging but not confrontational.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to. We didn't have a pre-production meeting because I wanted that heartwarming meeting between Chris and Craig to be, for everybody to hear.
Yeah.
All the listeners.
Probably a lot of listeners are on the verge of tears right now.
Probably.
It's kind of an emotional moment.
It's been a long time coming. The podcast's 2 coolest members meet for the first time.
Right. It was kind of like the Grammys when Eminem and Elton John finally performed together. Everybody.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how it is.
Right.
You know what I think, too, though? I think that Chris and Craig are the 2 people associated with the podcast who have come the closest to getting kicked off.
That is true.
Well,
Right? I mean, they've
it's a bit
both been
unfair
on.
me,
Haven't
I
they
think.
both been on probation? I mean, obviously Chris has.
Right.
Craig's gotten into a little bit of trouble, but maybe not quite to that level.
What did I do? That's
You're
absurd.
never here.
No, that's true. Some of it's a self-imposed absence, banishment.
Yeah. So we've got so much this week, we could probably blather on for 2 hours. We better not do that, or the listeners will object. It'll be too much $0 worth, right?
Right.
So, since we did no preparation, kind of it's going to be every man out for himself to grab the spotlight at any moment you can. And since I have the controls,
Well, do you have some live reporting?
it's funny that you would ask that. You know what that means, right?
I'm going to write words to this.
There are words to it, actually.
Live report! Live report!
You guys want to hear the studio version? This is the demo.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, there's actually a studio version. The studio was my garage when I was 18. Let's see. Hold on, I'm going to find it. See? That's how that song got,
Yeah.
made into... That's the studio there.
So you
Yeah, that one is way too slick for my taste.
you recorded that when you were 18?
Yeah.
So is it called like Down with Ronald Reagan or something? Or
Oh no, that's this
something
song's. I wasn't the lyricist, but this one was called "I Know How to Rock."
Self-evident.
It's kind of
really.
yeah,
Right,
Right, exactly.
A song
Actions
title that
speak.
perfectly
It's a boastful kind of thing.
yes, it's like a
You
musical.
may as well have called that untitled piece number 1, just because it is a demonstration of
Yes,
how you know how
it
to
is a
rock.
musical onomatopoeia.
Yep. It speaks what it is titled. Okay, so anyway, I did. Yeah, you guys failed to go see Wilco and Kurt Vile, but I went.
Yes,
So,
you went with Jackson.
right. My son Jackson just out of the blue because Barrett turned out not to be able to go, and then Chris didn't want to go, and then I was all lonely, and I was conceding that I wasn't going to go. And I've seen Wilco so many times. I thought it's not going to kill me to not go to this. But then Jackson said, "Sure, I'll go." And I thought, well, this might not go that well because he's going to think Wilco is really boring, and probably Kurt Vile too. But he seemed to be in like a laid back, accepting mood to just go hang out. And so it worked out okay. So have either of you been to a concert at Breese Stevens Field?
I have not, but that place is waking up here because
Yeah.
they just had the Ultimate Frisbee Championships like a couple weeks before, and then now
Yeah.
shows and stuff.
Yeah, I went to the East-West football game last year.
You know
Yeah.
what's exciting is coming up there? The Cheese Curd Festival.
Whoa.
Can you imagine how sick you would be if you just sampled cheese curds all night?
Was it like a wine tasting where you just like chew it in your mouth and spit it out?
I
so
don't
you don't
know.
just become like drunk on cheese curds,
I don't know.
go into lactic shock.
Yeah, but so this is an old stadium that they kind of sat dormant for a while, right? And then they
Yeah.
got it back up to code a couple of years ago, and then a couple of the promoters in town decided, hey, you could have concerts here. So it is, it's like a big football field with kind of limited stands, and so it's kind of like going to an outdoor festival where there's only one band playing.
An American football field for those in Ipswich.
Right, or it could easily be a UK football field too, though.
Pitch, if you will.
Right, and it's got
probably
artificial
too narrow for-
turf. It's got really nice artificial turf, so it's kind of nice to walk around on. So we went there. We didn't have tickets. We found the box office, and we were heading toward it. And two people said to us, "Hey, are you looking for tickets?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, we've got a couple extra tickets." And I said, "Well, great. That sounds good, but I have a limited amount of cash. I would have to go find a cash machine." And then they said, "Oh, well, we're not looking to get any money for them. We just want to give them to somebody." And I said, "All right, great."
Did you pay them by singing the lyrics to "I Know How to Rock"?
That would I should have, but
Cash value of $100 American, no matter what the street value.
so they gave us two tickets, and they said the guy says, "You probably won't mind. They're in the gold circle." The gold circle.
So was it a 3-tier thing? There's like good, better, best, or
I think there's just two. There's
Two?
just like general
Okay.
admission or the gold circle.
wow.
Which wasn't actually gold, but it was just basically they fenced off the area that's toward the front and made the people pay extra to go in that section. So so I watched Kurt Vile, the whole Kurt Vile I watched from the elusive gold circle location. And thing notable about Kurt Vile, he played 2 Jazzmaster guitars, 2 different acoustic guitars, and a banjo, like all in like the first 5 or 6 songs. He was like switching instruments every song. He's like got a big collection of guitars, and his supporting band was switching off, and man, they travel with a lot of
Right.
guitars. And it sounded like you'd expect. If you like his albums, you would have liked how he sounded. So I thought it was pretty good. It was enjoyable. He played about 50 minutes, not a really long set.
Mm-hmm.
Then Wilco came on 5 minutes before. I think they're on a tight time frame because they can only play till 10 o'clock because of the local ordinances or whatever. So it had to be over by 10. So Wilco was supposed to start at 7:30 and they started at like 7:25. So overall, we've seen Wilco a lot, but it was quality. It was a good quality show. And they kind of went back to, I think the last couple times we've seen them, they've been like really heavy on whatever their latest album is, right? And they play a ton of stuff from that. which of course then reduces the amount of old classics they can play. This was a really good set that included a lot of the classics, like I Am Trying to Break Your Heart. That was cool to see that. I don't think they've played that when we saw them before. I always love Impossible Germany. That's one of my favorites. So they played that for the first encore. So it was cool. Sound quality good, atmosphere good, all pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good ploy you tried there, saying you didn't have any cash.
Yeah, that's right. See, I had some cash, but I needed to get some food for my son and some beer for myself. So there had to be a little stash in reserve. And so, I wasn't willing to give that to these people for the tickets,
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have been enough anyway. It would have been enough for like one ticket. So, yeah, it worked out great. So there you go. I'm hoping, you know what's weird? You know who the next band playing there is? The band Cake.
Cake?
Is Cake big enough to play there? Like, how big is Cake? They don't seem that big to me.
Cake is one of these bands where I looked up one day at my CD collection back when I still had CDs, and I actually still do, and I'm like, holy crap, I have like 5 Cake CDs.
Wow.
It just kind of like sneaks up on you. Because I like each one of their albums fine, but they never struck me as being like... so there may be a lot of people out there like me who are closet Cake fans that'll go out. But honestly, I think at this point they would just play, a smaller venue. But who knows?
When was their... I never had any of their music. But when was their heyday? Like 20 years ago, right?
98 through, probably about a 10-year run.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you have everybody that turned, say, 25 or 30 in that period whose musical tastes just ossified. And, now they're, in their 30s and 40s.
But is word of mouth about Breeze Stevens getting out now where people might just go for the experience? Just go because it'll be cool. Tickets will probably be pretty cheap.
Right.
It'll be something to do. I don't know.
I don't know if they'll be cheap, though. They weren't for Wilco. Like, the cheapest ticket was like $43.
Right.
Yeah.
And both Wilco and Kurt Weill are bigger than Cake.
Well,
I think Kurt Weill would be a bigger draw.
I just looked something up here. A little straw experiment, or whatever you want to call it. On Spotify, which is pretty big streaming service, monthly listeners, Wilco, 1,037,951 monthly listeners. Cake, 1,051,872.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Cake appears to be bigger than Wilco on that evidence alone.
Wow.
See?
Well, I guess that says something if Chris has 5 Cake CDs. That means that their run lasted a while.
They're humorous. They're like dry. They never veer from kind of their sound, which I think is also kind of funny. Like they just refuse to change. So if tickets are cheap enough, I might actually go to that. But
so maybe they're a good fit for that atmosphere too. People are kind of just hanging out outside.
I suppose. I don't know. But you never know. Like we may talk about this next. But I was recently at a music festival where there were bands that I had never heard of. I mean, I think our musical knowledge of indie music these days is actually pretty deep. Like we're probably in the top couple percent. But there's this band called Two Door Cinema, and like it was just packed for these guys, and I'd never heard them before in my life. And then I went back and I listened to them, and the album's pretty good. It's like from 2012, but people were going crazy over this band, and I had literally never heard of them in my entire life. So, Craig, have you heard of them?
217,000 monthly listeners for Two Door Cinema Club.
Yeah, 3
million listeners.
There you go.
What?
Wait,
362nd in the world.
And I'd literally never heard of this band before Lollapalooza.
So I think there's something going on with the demographics for Spotify listeners. They skew younger,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the Wilco and
a lot of
Cake
people that have
listeners would probably
Wilco.
be around the same. Maybe Wilco would be a little bit older. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Wilco, that started in, 93 or 2. Or
And then you've
whatever.
got, when did Uncle Tupelo start?
that was like 89.
So they go back farther. They're
Right.
definitely
so
older
they have
than
a lot
Cake.
of a lot of fans with LPs and CDs,
Yeah.
but they have 1/3 the listenership of what is it? Two Doors or something?
Two Door Cinema Club.
Yes.
I think they're from the UK. Actually, I've never seen. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I looked up. I believe I believe maybe the lead singer is Irish, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that wouldn't be the UK then. Oh dear, I would get in trouble for that. Yeah, European Union.
Okay.
So I think Chris is leading up to another one of these. I didn't want to fail to give you the proper introduction, Chris. Yeah, so Chris, we're what, 3 or 4 weeks late on this, but you probably should give your report because it's kind of a major thing, right?
Yeah, I went to go see Radiohead at Lollapalooza.
And Lollapalooza has like 100,000 people each day or something like that, right? It's crazy.
I would think that's on the low end. Yeah,
It's
it
nuts.
was enormous.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just days after I spent a week in Cleveland at the covering the Republican convention, and so I was so burned out on writing about politics. I just went to Lollapalooza to go see Radiohead, and I was so irritated by the people standing around me at the Radiohead show that I immediately went home, got on my keyboard, and typed out the summer concert goer's constitution, like all the rules that you should follow to be a good conscientious concert goer. And the USA Today newspaper ended up running it, so now I can classify myself as a national music writer. I don't know if anybody actually read it, but it was actually in the paper. So, but yeah,
what are a couple of the? Give us some bullet points.
Well,
like you must stand there with your arms crossed and not look like you're having fun.
Right, I am the fun police, as you all know. No, so when you go to a show, no speakers are loud enough if you're far enough away to drown out the sound of people singing in your ear right next to you. Mm-hmm. So, there's some guy that works a desk job who literally he knows every word of every song. And it's like, okay, good. Maybe you didn't do so well in your fantasy football league this year or whatever, and so you need to show off, how good you are at something. But so we know you know all the words, but if you sounded like Tom York when you sang, you would be Tom York. You would not be standing right here next to me. You would be up on a stage somewhere yourself. So yes, having somebody sing at the top of his lungs every word to every song.
So he was actually doing that.
Yes.
So you were hearing like Tom York plus this random guy,
right?
Like, for every song.
A duet between Tom York and a random telemarketer next to me.
Are you allowed to sing along to maybe a certain percentage, like maybe 10% of the songs?
Now, I included one caveat: if it's a crowd sing along.
Well,
like at the end of Karma Police, Karma Police was the last song that they did, and kind of for a minute there, I lost myself. Everybody does kind of like the sing along to that. Perfectly reasonable. Fine. You want to sing? Fine. But not in my ear when I paid $200 to come see Radiohead. I did not pay to come hear you sing.
Right.
Yeah, I had that happen to me once when I was watching the band Cloud Cult, and there was a guy behind me just yelling all the words. It's like, come on, just stop this. I want to listen to the band.
The other thing being people who now record an entire concert on their phone. Like, you paid $200 to come see Radiohead, and you are now watching the entire thing through a 2-inch by 4-inch phone screen.
Yeah, that's
and what are you going to do with this video when you get home?
Yeah.
Like load it onto your computer and watch it every day, like you do like your videos of your children. I mean,
right.
If you want to take a little bit of video, that's fine. If you want to take pictures to show everybody you were there, fine.
Right, like Will took 10 seconds of the Wilco show.
Yeah.
Put it up on Twitter, Facebook, and whatnot.
But literally recording every song of the entire show on your phone to upload it to YouTube. And then, if I go on YouTube and I want to see a live performance, if it's ever like an audio or a crowd shot thing, it always sounds terrible, and I skip it anyway. So
yeah,
I don't know. That would be, and then of course the I'm generally against the death penalty, but I support it for anyone who puts their stupid girlfriend on their shoulders
that's kind of bad
at a field show, because it is the ultimate in selfishness. Like your stupid girlfriend, just so you can make inroads with her, you put her on your shoulders, then nobody behind you can see anything. Just far out of bounds.
Would you make an exception if it's like they're at Woodstock and she's topless?
In order to be consistent, I should probably say no.
Yeah. It's still disrespectful to the people behind them.
Right. It's still
Yeah.
plus the people behind them can't see her if she's topless. So
Yeah.
that's even more disrespectful.
Yeah.
What's next? Does everybody have to sit down during the concert?
Yes,
Chris?
everybody has to. Yes.
Okay.
Everybody has a
uh,
duty to keep Chris's sight line clean.
Once you're at your spot, you can't go to use the bathroom or to get a beer. You have to stay there.
No, you can come in and out.
I'm just trying to
Come
see
and
what
go
the
as you
limits
please.
of your...
But that was another thing. It's like, I am certainly no Nancy Reagan in this regard, but maybe take it easy on the booze and the drugs. And it's not like for your own health or anything. I don't care. You drink all you want, obviously, but why would somebody pay $200 to go see Radiohead, get so drunk that they don't even remember being there, or take so many drugs? It's like,
It's a little counterproductive.
so art happens when it happens, and then if you have no recollection of it, did it really happen? It's kind of philosophical.
Yeah.
Craig, what do you think?
I think it happens, whether you remember it or not.
You can go home and watch grainy video on YouTube and remember it, I guess.
I think there's a minimum for live music of the 2 beer minimum. I'd say there's no point going to a gig or a show if it's completely sober.
Sure.
I
But
agree.
then there's a threshold. You wouldn't want to. If it's so much you can't stand up or you have to go to the bathroom to be sick, you've probably exceeded the the good amount.
Right.
Yeah.
Like at that Courtney Barnett show, I drank more than was strictly necessary.
That, I can vouch for that, yes.
But it didn't, I still enjoyed the show. And so I think I was butting up against that line, but staying on the right side of it. That's how I see it. Maybe you saw it differently, but...
No, but I got a lot of suggestions from people after they read it. They said, well, you should have added, what you wear at a concert. I'm like, wear whatever you want at a concert. It makes no difference to me.
So you can go get the go to the merch table, put the T-shirt on over another shirt.
No, you can't do that.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
There are other rules. First,
From the event.
these rules didn't make it. But first of all, you can't listen to the band that you're about to go see while you're driving to the concert.
Oh, I
No, that,
agree.
people who say
disagree
that's
with that.
homework or revising. No, I'm sorry.
Absolutely not.
You're going to have your ticket taken away from you at the gate.
Also, you cannot wear the T-shirt of the band you're going to go see, nor can you wear one that you purchased at the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's uncool.
Let's see. What other ones did I have?
What a bunch of horrible snobs we are.
Yes. You got to live your own truth. Do whatever you want. But I'm just saying, in order to be a conscientious concert goer, I think these are the rules.
Right.
So whatever.
Tweety at the Wilco Show made a funny comment in between songs. He said, "Okay, we're about to play a new song and a ballad. So if that's not your kind of thing, now might be the time to just go take a walk around, or maybe you want to go buy a Kurt Vile shirt."
That's cool.
So
I
that's
saw. Let's see. I saw the Last Shadow Puppets. They are apparently like an art. What's the band I'm thinking of? Arctic Monkeys. Side project. And they were actually pretty good. Saw Wolf Alice. They were good. We saw them.
saw them.
I saw them here
the
in Madison.
Majestic, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then other than that, I was just mostly walking around. I came back to Madison and watched a lot of it on the live stream. I watched Jane's Addiction on the live stream play the entire Ritual de lo Habitual album front to back, which was proof to me that there is a God. And so yeah, I watched the Red Hot Chili Peppers on the live stream, and
God.
I am
That's
not.
proof there is
Why?
Satan.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Right. Right.
I thought
Chalk one up for my team.
they would think they are my era, so they would be like right in my wheelhouse, and I have always just kind of detested them.
Yeah,
I've never
okay,
been
good.
a fan of them theirs
That's
at
good.
all. And just seeing them again now reinforced the fact that I'm happy I didn't waste any time on them.
Yeah, I just find them just awful. Like there's nothing worse.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, and there was one other band, Panama Wedding, I saw, and they were actually pretty good. They're like a New York band, and they only have a couple of EPs.
Uh-huh.
But
So how does a band like that get on the Lollapalooza?
really early in the afternoon when
lineup?
nobody's there.
Yeah, but I mean, it used to be that they had their undercard, so to speak, was like a lot of the bands that we would listen to, and now it's not that way at all. It's all stuff that we've never heard of, so it's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
but I don't know where they get them.
So yeah,
That's disappointing.
chance
Are you going to tell us about Radiohead at all?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, other than the interpretation of the guy standing right next to me screaming it in my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're really heavy on the new album, which is fine with me. A lot of those songs aren't necessarily rockers, but yeah, it was. Then they dipped back in. They did 2 encores, so they got in. Paranoid Android. They got in a bunch of OK Computer stuff. They went really heavy on Hail to the Thief, which is good. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was a Radiohead show. They were in. Tom York was in good voice, and I don't know. It was great. They had to be done by probably more noise ordinances. They had to be done by 10 p.m. So navigating your way out of there when 150, 200,000 people are leaving the park at the same time was a nightmare. But especially I didn't get to drink because I drove back to Madison that night. So yeah, no. There's this band called Radiohead, and I think you should go see them because they're good.
All right.
That's my report.
Good. All right. We should turn it over to Craig. You got any live reports, music news, anything fun for us?
I've got nothing.
Well, I've got a bit of news, music news. That, what's his name, Ron Perlman? Not Ron.
The actor?
Lou Pearlman.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of the band boy. What is the word I'm looking for?
The boy
Impresario?
Band. Yes.
Band boy?
The orchestrator of the boy band era of the late 90s.
He has passed at age 62.
Yes.
So
he ran the city from Orlando, Florida. He ran kind of...
So yeah, he was like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and then whoever else. Anyway, we don't need to talk any more about that.
So
not to be disrespectful, it's sad that a person has died, but
yeah, he didn't get the jingle.
No,
but I believe he also spent some time in prison as well. So he is,
did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
he was also probably not the most savory of characters.
And then yesterday in West Bend, this guy from a band. Is there a band called Three Doors Down or something? Yes, he died. He was about to play a free benefit thing outside of Milwaukee, and he died. In his hotel room from an overdose, which is sad enough, but doubly sad is that his dad was on the tour with him.
Oh man!
And then the cops had to come into his, to knock on his dad's door and tell him.
Three Doors Down. That's the do.
I don't have any
Semi-Charmed. Let me look this up. You guys keep.
I only know the name and that they were famous at one time, but.
Do you think his dad's door was 3 doors down?
That briefly passed through my mind, and I decided not to say it.
Yeah,
but you did.
Craig, look up how many people listen to 3 Doors Down on Spotify this month.
I'm doing that right now. Yeah. 5 million listen to Radiohead, by the way.
Okay, there we go.
They're 187th in the world. 3 Doors Down. First in the world. No. 3,030,000. 385th in the world.
Wow.
That's kind of cool that they have those stats, though.
3 times more than Wilco, which is just insane.
That is insane.
I thought Wilco indie rock royalty, but it shows you how narrow the indie genre is, really.
I suppose.
Guess so. All right. Well, maybe before we get to the music, though, we should have Craig give us a Premier League update.
That's right. This is what I was really most excited about this week. I think we should do this every year.
Sorry, Third Eye Blind was Semi-Charmed Life.
Okay. It had a 3 in it. That's all that
3 Doors Down, Third Eye Blind is kind of... I wouldn't really know the difference between them.
No.
It's just band names that I've heard. So anyway, how's
this kind of came about really because Will was trying to pick a team, right?
Yeah.
You asked Craig.
His team lost today. Oh, good choice with Sunderland there.
Yeah. It's going to be... I'm going to be rooting for avoidance of relegation, right? Is that going to be my thing?
As I said to you, I think in our pre-production notes, maybe all but the top 7 or 8 of the Premier League, the bottom 12 really are all trying to avoid relegation. Mm-hmm. Once you get to 44, 45 points, you've avoided that. So the sooner you get there, the better, and then you can just enjoy the rest of the season. Sunderland won't get there.
But then that provides some
Well, they might.
that provides some drama near the end of the season, though, right? For the teams that aren't anywhere close, right?
Yeah, drama, but if it makes you feel sick in your stomach, I mean, having been supporting the team that's there, Southampton, for many years of my life, it's awful feeling.
Yeah, it seemed like from our the limited pre-production that we did, Craig, I was getting the impression that for you, being a fan is almost more torture than it is fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair. I don't really enjoy being a football fan. No.
Don't you guys feel that way about the Packers?
I absolutely feel that way about the Packers.
If they're playing, say the Packers' biggest rivalry, Craig, would be the Bears. Maybe the Vikings somewhat so lately, but
yeah, because the Bears are terrible.
When if there's a big nationally televised game and a loss would knock them out of first place or whatever, I don't enjoy that at all. I don't enjoy the lead up to it. If they're up 28-0 in the first quarter, then it's like time to crack a beer and I can enjoy myself for a change. But other than that, it's not any fun at all.
Yeah,
aren't the Packers actually good though?
They are good.
I know nothing about this, but
yeah,
they're pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Southampton hard, so it's different kind of pressure or excitement or nervousness supporting a good team who's expected to do well for supporting a team who's expected to do badly mostly.
Right?
Yeah, but I feel like if they win, then they should win.
Right.
And if they lose, it's just so crushing. It takes a couple of days for me to get over it.
Right. A win is just
so there's no
maintenance
joy
of status quo.
There's a psychological phenomenon known as anhedonia, which means not being able to take pleasure in anything. And I feel like I have Packers anhedonia.
Absolutely, that would make sense.
Like everything is downhill.
Think about the joy of even winning the Super Bowl, right?
Well,
Assign
they should.
a random number to that. I'll give it a random number of 6, okay? But a loss has a negative factor of double that.
Right. Losing hurts a lot more than winning feels good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's that called this is like the behavioral psychology thing.
I think the lesson of this is just don't be a sports fan, right?
Yeah, if I could achieve that, I would. But it's too late for me now. I mean, if I could not care, that's what I'm aiming for.
I think about that quite a lot, like how smart I would be if 30% of my brain weren't filled with random baseball, football, or basketball statistics.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I think of all these people who are geniuses, like Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever, and that 30%, if I would have swapped in his for mine, I feel like I would be pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
here I am.
So how is the Southampton squad looking this year?
Yeah, I think it's too early to say, really, for any of the teams. But for Southampton specifically, again, sold a lot of good players in the summer. The 2 top scorers from last season were both sold, one to China and one to Liverpool. For massive money, though, ridiculous fees. 48 million, I think, for the player who went to Liverpool, Sadio Mane. So that's such a ludicrous amount of money.
Right.
So, yeah, it's hard to say. After maybe, the old cliche is, after 10 games, you know really how your season's going to pan out. 10 or 15 games, almost certainly.
Right.
And if by Christmas you're doing okay, you'll be okay. If you're struggling at Christmas, you're going to struggle for the rest of the year. So,
how many games are there in the season?
In the Premier League, 38.
Okay.
20 teams, and you play each one home and away. So.
Oh, that's very pure, though.
Cool. That's great.
That's how it should be.
Right. In the NFL, there are 32 teams.
Yeah.
Or is it 30? 32.
I think it's 32.
32. And, you only play 16 games, and you play the teams in your division twice. So
there's a whole bunch of teams you don't
really,
play.
Really big. When the schedule comes out, that goes a long way toward determining who's going to have a good season a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is, you don't have that at all in the Premier League, which is good.
So we should tell the listeners then, if they want to follow the Premier League, Craig's team is Southampton. I decided I'm going to follow Sunderland, and you guys, what is it? Tottenham? But they're the Black Cats. That's cool.
No, I'm booing Chris's and Barrett's team.
Oh, that's who you're booing. Tottenham.
So from what from my limited knowledge of Premier League history. Tottenham never wins anything. So how can you boo them?
I don't know. Football fans can be quite parochial, as I'm sure any sports fans can. Southampton kind of have this rivalry with Tottenham. I think it's quite historic. The two sets of supporters don't like each other.
Is it kind of a fun sort of a thing, or is it an actual hatred?
Well, I mean, how serious can any of these things be? There isn't violence in British football anymore. Thank goodness. That's all gone since the 80s, the 70s and 80s. But yeah, it's sheer animosity, extreme animosity, but it doesn't come to violence because that sort of thing is very, very limited these days. For the best, obviously.
So when these teams play, will it be on TV here? We should get together and watch it, right?
It will be. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, at the Red Zone. I'm coming over.
Yes. While you guys talk a little bit more, I'll look at the upcoming schedule.
All right.
I think Southampton and Sunderland play next week. Is that right?
That's right. At St Mary's. Yeah, that's Southampton's home game for Southampton.
All right.
Oh my God!
Now that I think of
you're
it,
going to start off. Your team is going to be winless in the first 3 games.
Well, we'll see about that.
I kind of think my team's going to be winless, but we'll see.
That's
yeah,
I was
the
talking
expectation would be for Southampton to win that. They'll be favourites, but it's close. It's not going to be a decisive victory either way.
Right.
well, now that I think of it, we do have a lot of animosity for Chicago Cubs fans,
We do.
and they haven't won since 1906,
I think it was 1908.
1908,
Yeah.
and
They're
but we still
really,
detest
really
them.
good this year, but
This could be the,
they don't hand out the trophies in August for a good reason.
Yeah.
So I'm the national music writer now. You should be the national sports guy,
Okay, I will do that.
since nobody here talks about sports in America.
No, right.
The lone voice.
Exactly.
All right.
And then, yeah.
Welcome to Will's Band of the Week, the music podcast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Will's Band of the Week, Premier League update, and Waffle House. We're all in one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to, if we're going to move on, I'll say one more thing about this, and that is that, I know that this stuff means so much more to Craig than it does to these dudes in Wisconsin that just pick teams for fun. That I am not going to give you any shit at all when our two teams are playing each other.
I don't do that kind of thing.
Good.
It really annoys me when people gloat. I mean, it's pathetic. It's not as if you have any hand in it. So you'll find nothing like that from me either.
Okay, good.
So I can't gloat about the fact that the USA wins every gold medal and therefore we're superior to everyone.
You're not supposed to.
Oh.
Well, Great Britain is actually amazing at the Olympics.
Yeah, Mo Farah, man. Mo Farah rocks. Man, that,
Oh,
that
yeah,
guy
he's-
was,
you're the runner.
he was a blast to watch.
And you put us on a bike, the Brits, and oh man, incredible on the track, the cycling track.
I haven't
Yes.
followed the cycling much.
Oh.
Then, of course, the biggest track star is from Jamaica. So that's
Oh,
good.
the running track, yeah. But
isn't-
once
isn't-
you put us on wheels, then that's...
Yeah. But isn't Bolt just really fun to watch?
He is.
I mean, he's this huge, tall guy, and he's really charismatic. And I think for some people would think that he goes overboard on the showy stuff, but it just seems like pure joy. He doesn't seem like a real calculating guy to me.
Yeah.
So just because he's so much taller than everybody else, he's like 6'4" or 6'5". I think they
Yeah.
calculated it takes him 41 steps to finish the 100 yards,
100
meters, and it takes everyone else 44. So
Oh,
he's
that-
actually got 3 fewer steps,
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, but most people.
and that's been your Olympic stat.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we could go another half hour on the Olympics, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I didn't listen to music for this podcast for nothing.
Okay. All right, Craig, tell us about Amber Arcades.
Yeah, this is a new one on me. My friends were chatting on Facebook, and one of them was going to a music festival in the UK, which is happening right now. And he said, "Oh, what shall I listen to?" And she said, "Oh, if you like kind of dream pop, blissed out, sort of atmospheric indie, then check out Amber Arcades." And so I thought, well, I like that. So I thought I better check them out. And within 10 minutes, I thought I quite liked them. So I suggested them for the podcast, and here we are.
Yeah.
Dream pop is not a phrase I would ever use, but I was just quoting someone who said that. They're from Utrecht in the Netherlands, or at least the singer is. I think she recorded some stuff at home, and then she'd saved up a bunch of money and paid a producer in New York to produce her album, and got in members of Real Estate and another band, Quilt, to play on the album for her. And the result is something quite good, I think. There we go. That's the intro.
Yeah, and the album is called Fading Lines, and I just listened to it because you told me to, and I have a pretty good impression of it too. Let's start with a track. So your first pick, Craig.
I'm going to go for track 3, Fading Lines. It's the title track.
Amber Arcades.
Wow, that was abrupt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get
you
this
guys,
off.
you guys heard an abrupt stop to that song, but through the magic of editing, the listeners will hear a very professional fade out.
Oh.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've found that to be difficult to deal with because usually it's when Will would start to fade the thing a little bit. And be like, okay, it's about time.
You could
to
be
talk.
like
He's
eased
gotta
into
get ready.
it. Yeah.
Right, but it is a jolt.
Right.
Yeah.
You just had that deer in the headlights look like, oh my God, what am I going to say?
Right.
The problem is when I do the live fade outs, they just aren't very good fade outs. So then I was fading out the fade outs again when I was editing, and I thought, why bother with that?
Double fade out is
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's
May not even be legal.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. You're the lawyer.
Maybe you can give some kind of a hand signal, like, at the end of a scene, we do the scene.
Right.
thing.
I'll try to give you guys a visual.
You guys
Now,
know
it's
what
not
I'm-
going to...
For the people
anybody-
at home. For the people at
Well,
home.
the
there it
visual
is,
for
mate.
me.
Do you know what that looks like?
What?
Like you have your hand above your head with an open palm, and then you go and scene. And as you lower your hand, you bring your fingers together.
Oh, okay.
Kind of
Is that
simulating
the thing that I need to do?
Yes.
Yeah, do that, and then
Except
I'll know when it's
if my
time.
hand's on the button, I'll have to do it with the mic.
That's
I don't know.
You can improvise.
So just before minutes,
Even a nod.
minutes ago, I had no idea real estate had anything to do with this. And if I were forced to pick a song, I would have picked that song precisely because it sounded like a real estate song.
I'm guessing too that the guitarist for Real Estate has left to concentrate on
DuckTales.
DuckTales.
Oh, I didn't
And I'm
know
guessing that this happened that they did this with Real Estate before he quit because
Interesting.
it just sounds like that guitar, like that little.
Do we know which member of Real Estate it was who's on this recording, Will?
I
anyone
don't.
know?
I think we better find that out. Somebody do some music journalism while we play another track.
Can I say something about that track? No.
Yeah.
Let's just play more.
All right. I like the next track, number 4. I Will Follow. No relation to the famous U2 song.
did it again.
I just did the abrupt stop for you
I
guys.
didn't see your hand coming down. With the
No,
buzzer.
I didn't
That
give
would
these
be
guys any warning either. All right, we solved it. It's the drummer from Real Estate.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever, I guess, but like, that just sounds like the guitarist for Real Estate playing on.
Maybe he's the creative genius behind Real Estate.
I guess the drummer writes all the guitar parts. And the other guy's just like a.
So who is the
mimic.
guitarist? Because I think it's the bass player from Quilt.
There's
who's
two
on
people.
it.
It says this article says there's two people from Quilt, and then another guy named Kevin Morby, and
He actually had an album earlier this
Yeah,
year that I
remember
liked.
that.
Yeah.
I listened
Shane
to that.
Butler is the guitarist in Quilt. Okay, so that makes sense.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, if you want to read an interesting review, it's on the site Drowned in Sound, and the guy gives it a 10. So
Wow.
this guy likes it.
That's quite a well-known UK. It's the UK version of Pitchfork, I guess. A little bit less pretentious. No, it's just as pretentious, actually.
I always think Grant would say all music reviews are pretentious.
So,
Yeah.
so 10. So
yeah.
they're saying this is Abbey Road.
It's as good as an album can
Like
get.
this is-
Literally cannot get better.
There's yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think that's a bit excessive.
yeah.
10 out of what? Maybe it's out of
Yes.
12.
On the standard 37-point scale.
But
But yeah, it's a pretty good album, right? Now
It's
you
a
know
metric system. It's there's an exchange rate.
Craig's getting
Wait.
arrested. I think.
What?
that didn't sound.
Because I
thought,
criticised Drowned in Sound.
I thought
The
British
indie
sirens. I thought British sirens sound like, at the beginning of Police on My Back, which is on.
Yeah, it should have sounded like that.
It's like. Meh, 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 meh. Why
That was
didn't
an
it-
ambulance anyway. The hospital's right just up the road here.
Oh, okay. I see. Because that just sounded
All right.
like you were in Madison here. And maybe you are.
Sounded
maybe you
very
didn't tell
American.
us.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, surprise! Door of 4th-bedroom studios.
He's right outside the
fifth
door.
door.
studio. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he maybe was in the bathroom there. No.
So that last song, I think that there's a band that totally sounds like, right?
Always.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like Always.
Yeah.
Not quite as good as Always, and the album as a whole is not. I mean, I'm not going to say this is as good as my number one album of the year from a couple of years ago, but
You had always
So-
number one?
yeah, so did Craig.
I was going to brag that I had like
Great
number
minds
3.
always think alike.
Yeah. So well,
I thought I had you both beat, but no, guess not.
but it has a similar sound, right? So
Yeah, I don't think it's. I would agree. It's not quite as good. Different though, less overtly poppy. I think always headed out for a kind of slightly quicker, more poppy sound. Whereas Amber Arcade is more of that dream pop sort of slower and gentler and more atmospheric sort of sound. It's not directly comparable, maybe.
not quite as many hooks, right? Like obvious hooks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what Barrett or Chris, did you listen to this enough to make a pick?
I don't. Let's see. I liked. I listened to it while running, so I was never really sure which one was which. So I'm gonna say somebody just pick out a good one for me.
2 or 7 would be good, I think.
I'm gonna pick 7 because that's kind of my go-to.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that.
Well, that's kind of our rule.
Well, you can do it.
An album is only truly good if track 7 is good. Because
Yeah,
that's
this
kind of like
litmus
Well, in
test.
this case,
It's not
this
the
one
opener,
only has
it's not
10
the end.
songs, so I'm gonna go with 6.
Wait, you're going with 6 now?
Wait, what?
Well, this is
What?
a short 10.
Let's overrule him. I want to play 7.
Yeah.
Oh,
7.
God.
And it has, the title of it, I'm going to say Apophenia.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, the rain keeps falling. I don't know why. It's symbolic of my wasted nights. Days crawling
That's Amber Arcades. I tried to give Chris a signal there.
I saw it.
Yeah, Barrett was doing some
I was
music
looking at
journalism.
my phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was staring at this old iPod that you have that appears to be the size of a computer itself.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, by modern standards, that would be like 153 terabyte iPod.
This thing is 160 gigabytes, though.
What?
Yeah, it's like a monster.
That's enormous.
Yeah. So, yeah, my wife wanted some music to... she was complaining that the music they play at her work is bad. So she said, can you make a playlist? And then, she would take it to work. And so I worked very hard on this playlist. I took probably over an hour of my valuable time. And I thought, okay, what kind of music would be not too offensive? And, it was kind of, how you can craft a playlist. It's fun to do that,
Why
right?
would you even need to make a playlist, though? Because that thing could probably fit all music. Like the entire Spotify.
Well, okay. Well, this is the thing. Yeah, I just wanted to make a narrowly tailored playlist. So I came up with about 150 songs, and then it was like, okay, how am I gonna give it to her? And I found one of my kids' old iPods. I just threw it on there. It was beautiful. It was an old iPod Nano. Those are great for that. You can actually still use them for something. It's cool. All right, Amber Arcades. Any more words about this band from anybody?
I'm going to listen to them more. Her more.
Yeah, sounds,
whatever.
yeah, I quite like
Very
it.
nice.
Yeah, it's cool that there's somebody from the Netherlands too, right?
Making the dream pop that Americans refuse to.
That's right. There isn't that much dream pop in the U.S., is there? Well, there's some.
Pains of Being Pure at Heart used to be. No, maybe. Second album, probably.
Do you think Eternal Summers are kind of dream poppy?
Yeah, but they're more poppy, though.
A little more rock.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
They're more in my wheelhouse. The girl band.
Now the charger for this old iPod is stuck in the
Yeah,
in
sorry
my
about
chair.
that. I made you swing around.
It's
and
terrible.
Now it's
Yeah, I got to work on that. During the next song, I'm going to work on that while you guys do music journalism. All right, let's see. What do we got next? So, of the bands that we talked about, that we might talk about, did you guys, Barrett or Chris, listen to any of those?
I listened to them both.
Oh, Barrett is so prepared this week.
Wow.
My goodness. So, should we just keep on rocking?
Let's do it. What's next?
Let's talk about the new album by the OCs. They're indie rock veterans by now. I mean, didn't you guys see them 5 years ago at the Pitchfork Festival?
Indeed, we did.
Yeah, so you guys were on to them so long ago that they're just old news now, right?
I suppose.
And I've never really gotten into them that much. I always thought, they're kind of cool, but I never immersed myself in a whole album. And I guess I haven't really completely immersed myself in this new one, but I did put it on and I did think to myself, man, those are some pretty cool, crazy guitars that they've got going on. And I thought, yeah, that's worth listening to.
Right. Yeah, they're from San Francisco, and I guess if you had to put them into a broad category, it would be psych rock, right? Is that
Yeah.
what people
Yeah, I
call
think
this?
so. I think so.
I mean, they definitely have a formula where it's, you take a riff, usually kind of a bass riff, and then just go over and over and over, and then the song kind of devolves, and it gets a little more hyper and hyperkinetic, and a lot of screaming and stuff. And there's some of this stuff on there that kind of seems samey to some of their older stuff, but there are a lot of songs on here. I actually really like this album. So let me pick the first one.
All right, Chris is going to take it and grab it.
I'm gonna pick one that kind of breaks from their kind of cycle. So I'm gonna do Unwrap the Fiend Part 2, which I really liked. Yeah, see, I just kind of like the. I mean, it's simple, but I kind of like the atmosphere of that song. It's a little bit different than kind of what I'm used to from them.
Yeah, the whole thing is really well recorded, I think, and so maybe we can let's just play another track before we get all the the great comments you guys are all going to have. So I've talked about how as an aging rocker, it's just it's less and less common that you hear a song and you want to just play it really loud, right? Because we're aging rockers, right?
No, I
Not-
actually play a lot of songs really loud still.
See,
all the
Chris
time.
hasn't aged enough yet.
It's too old. Or if I stepped on my own line there. If it's too loud, you're too old.
You're too old.
dude.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but this is an exception because this is just like totally rocking. So I recommend the listeners turn this way up. It's track 2 called Ticklish Warrior. So one thing they do in that song is they mix the vocals so that they're kind of quiet, right? And it just makes the guitar sound even more powerful, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of fun, I think. So, yeah. Barrett, got any thoughts? Craig's being really silent, so we'll just hold out on him.
Yeah, well, to me, I mean, Craig can chime in on this point, but it just sounds so American and so specifically Northern California, doesn't it?
I don't
know
know.
what that would sound like, really.
I mean,
Yeah, if you say so, yeah, you would know more. Doesn't sound American to me necessarily.
No? Okay, because, I mean, maybe if I hadn't heard where they're from, that certainly colored my view of it, but, you know, I mean, obviously, San Francisco and psychedelic rock are synonymous,
Yeah.
right? This would be like a, you know, like a blues rock band coming out of Chicago or something, you know? It's like kind of a stereotypical sound
So you think they're
for
like
the region.
Jefferson Airplane?
Yeah,
Redux?
you know, Moby Grape, Jefferson Airplane, you know?
I believe they're from San Francisco, are they not?
Yes.
I think they are.
Yeah.
As is Metallica,
Okay. Well, there you go. I guess not everybody sounds the
famous
same.
famous
Just-
psychedelic rockers,
It's
Metallica.
not necessarily something in the water that makes them all sound the same. Because they don't sound like Journey either, also from San
Right.
Francisco.
Or they don't sound like
Huey Lewis.
or Tao and the Get Down, Stay Down. Don't
That's
sound
true.
like them either. So we're busting your theory, Barrett.
Wooden
Although-
ships. There you go. There's a good one for Barrett's theory.
Okay.
Oh.
I saw something about them. I think you went and saw them, right, Craig?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I have seen them, but not recent. Not since I've known you, I don't think.
Okay. I just felt like I saw something on Facebook about.
I really like them.
Yeah. Anyway, so
There we go. San Francisco.
well, I guess I'm just underscoring the psychedelic nature of the music, and they're being from there.
It sounds like it
It's,
didn't really grab you as something you wanted to listen to more.
You know, I like it a lot. There's some things about it that get a little boring to me and repetitive. And in fact, on one of the songs, it might be the first song, there's a little guitar riff that sounds like they ripped off from Lenny Kravitz. It sounds awful.
Well, who doesn't?
Well, that
A noted influence of many
Yes.
of today's rockers.
You know,
But
they also have one that just sounds like the beginning of Iron Man by Black Sabbath, right? Did you catch that one?
that didn't occur to me at the time. Do you know which one that is? We can maybe play that one. I
No, I don't remember.
picked one called it's number 4, Plastic Plant.
Ah, it would have been my second pick, but go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, the OCs.
So yeah, in my car I have an iPod, an old iPod attached that I use, and as I scroll like through what I want to listen to, you know, you start down from Y, Yola Tango, Wilco, or Y Oak, Wilco, you go down through. Rarely does it make past T for the OCs. Like once I hit that, it's like, yeah, I'm usually in the mood for that. So
Yeah?
rarely, I don't even know what's below T.
Do you ever get radical and like start with A and go down to B and C, or do you always go backwards?
I tend to go backwards. I don't know.
Huh? Got any bands that start with a Z?
Not currently loaded on there.
You know, you can alphabetize it by album title, right? And
Yeah.
then it would randomize it.
I could do that.
Could shake things up a little. Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit.
So this album is called A Weird Exits. So I guess that means the word weird is a noun, right? Like a weird is a thing, according to that grammar,
Yeah, okay.
right?
Yes.
Either that or they're just kind of messing with us, which is probably what they're doing, right? Craig, did you listen to this?
Not until whenever you started playing the first sample a few minutes ago.
All right.
So no, thanks to
Pulling a Barrett.
Yeah, he's pulling a Barrett.
it's good to come in cold. I don't know. We have this radio show. Well, the BBC indie music station is called BBC Radio 6. Contrast that Radio 1 is mainstream pop. Radio 2 is for old timers. Radio 3 classical. Radio 4 talking about stuff. And yeah, so Radio 6 is the indie station, and one of the presenters on there, my favourite, he loves the OCs, and he goes on and on and on how great they are. And you know when something's like that, and if you've never heard them, and you hear this guy going on and on and on, he plays a lot of stuff that I like, you know, I said he's my favourite. You just think, I can't be asked to listen to them, you know, if they're that great. You know, you're going over the top here.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I think I probably would I do like that kind of psychedelic rock sound, but I feel like I'm too late to jump on now, and I just those samples didn't really grab me. The third one would have been my favourite of the three you just played, probably.
Yeah, it's always, I always find it kind of, I have to be careful if I listen to something and I love it so much. If I'm describing it to somebody else, I know that if I tell them how much I love it, it'll be like I'll be overplaying it because there's no way they will like it that much, especially right on the first listen, right? So then you've blown it kind of, right?
Yeah.
Because then you've set them up for disappointment.
Isn't that really the whole purpose of this podcast, though?
Yeah, that's kind of true. We tell everybody how great everything is, and then
Yes.
they listen and they say it's not really that good, right?
Exactly.
Well, we don't go over the top, do we? We're quite level-headed here on the podcast, I think.
I think so.
We don't criticise anything too heavily, which is a good way to proceed. And then if we like something, we say, you might want to check it out.
Yeah,
But secretly, we love everything.
right. Yeah, except there was only one band. What was that band?
Oh,
The
right.
National?
No, well, no, we were split on that.
We have
although
pet
I'm coming
bands.
around to your way of thinking on them.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not optimistic about their new one. I thought their last one was a bore.
But what's that band that we all reviewed, like in the
Yeah,
first year
what
of the
was that?
podcast?
The album was called Howl Howl Gaff Gaff.
Yeah, except that was not the album we reviewed. It was the one after that.
Every time we bring this up, I
It's
step into the
that same
I
band.
step into the same trap.
Yeah.
I bring up that album that we didn't even talk about. But
Right.
yeah,
Well, anyway,
whatever.
They sound just like The Cure.
Shout out.
What's that?
Shout out loud.
The shout out.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah. So after
I
that,
didn't know that, by the way. I'm just looking.
after that podcast, we decided to keep it positive. That's why
Did
we
we?
become. That's why we become such a international superstardom podcast.
I don't ever remember signing on to such a pact.
Right.
No, we no.
Usually, if I don't like something when I first hear it, I won't listen to it enough to form really negative opinions. I'll just be like, it's not worth my time.
Yeah.
So then I'll just kind of come in mostly cold on it.
All right. So in the interest of giving the listeners even more than $0 worth, we've got one more band, and Craig told us about this band called Terry. So take it away, Craig.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have anything positive to say about this. Well, we'll see how we get on. So I think they're from Australia, Melbourne. And
Which
it's
means,
half of Dick Diver.
yeah,
I don't
we
know which members.
We should mention that they probably live just down the block from Nicholas, right?
Nicholas might well be the guitar player in this band. Did anybody check on
If you
that?
say anything bad about him, it could be pretty offensive.
Or his uncle or something, or his niece,
Right.
or nephew, or who knows.
Of course, my nephew, as I have to mention, as is legally required, is a Melburnian.
Yeah.
My sister had a young child in Melbourne, and now he lives there. Little Jack.
So
Maybe Little Jack is the guitarist.
he
It
might
could very
be-
well be, yeah.
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 So
So they're funny. Will, when you first listened to it, you said, "Well, I'm not sure what to make of this." So I don't think
Right.
I'm not ready to say I love them either. But I like Dick Diver so much, and that the Melbourne kind of post-punk indie pop bands that it's worth talking about. I think.
yeah, they don't make music like that in the United States at all, I don't think. You know, it's sort of this post-Go-Betweens thing where maybe this band doesn't quite have that catchiness of the Go-Betweens, but it's kind of a style that we don't hear very much. So in that
Right.
regard, it's kind of fun.
It's a little like the Go-Betweens, but with all of the tunefulness
Yeah, taken
and all
out
of the
it.
hooks taken out of it. Is that fair? I mean, not all of it. They left some little remnants.
It
But
does seem to be pretty tuneless.
Well, we keep interrupting you, Craig. You're getting no flow on this report.
No, I don't know anything about them. I'm really struggling. Interrupt me now.
Well, they called their
I
album.
think actually, so they have the album called Terry HQ. But if we're going to play something, then we should play their what do you call it? Their, kind of their manifesto, I suppose, their mission statement, which is from the Talk About Terry EP, and the song is Talk About Terry. And I guess this is maybe they formed as a joke, and they just said, let's write a song about talking about Terry, and then they just stayed playing more. I don't know. It seems kind of a very random project, really. I don't know.
So I have the Terry HQ album queued up here. Should I find this other thing?
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp there on the right-hand side. Talk About Terry EP.
Okay, I found it. Are we going to play Talk About Terry?
Let's go for it. It's the most tuneful thing they've done, I think. Most listenable.
And I'm here
Yeah, I agree. That's catchier than anything on the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love. This is always what you get with accents. Anything which is unusual to you, kind of exotic and cool. But with that spoken word part, which the woman's doing there in Australian accent, I think it's just brilliant. And if it's an American or British accent, it probably wouldn't occur to me to even notice it. It kind of adds something to the song.
There's a thing about like male female vocals and kind of when they're off key. I think it's actually kind of fun. So I think that aspect of them I kind of like.
Well, it sounds like you can imagine their first rehearsals and stuff. They're getting together, like, okay, who's gonna sing? Yeah, you give it a go. And the guy went, and they're like, I don't think so. That's not gonna work. And then she sang, like, that's not quite right either. Like, how about both of you together? And it's just different enough. And I do like that about it.
So
I agree with you there.
maybe we should listen to a little of the Terry HQ album. Actually, I'm going to play a track that there's a aspect to it that I really don't like, and I'll tell you what it is after we play it. It's called Hotheads.
Middle of September, hot ass, breaking down the levee. Hot ass, end of an era. Hot ass, back to school day. Wild way to get your head beat. Main Street is waiting still. Suck hole or suck in eyes. Main Street is waiting still. Driving down the sweaty paths, in the car and on the crowd. Driving down the sweaty paths, in the car and on the crowd.
That's Terry.
I know what you don't like about it.
What?
That synthetic drum sound.
Not quite. Chris, do you have a guess?
Do I have a guess at what you
Yeah.
don't like about that?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Where to begin?
Yes, diving into the deep recesses of your mind.
Right.
Um,
I can just tell you.
yeah, please do.
That wood block thing. That wood block percussion.
That's the thing I like about that song.
I hate that. I hate that. It's like
Can we listen
it
to
just-
that again so I
it-
can hear the woodblock?
Yeah, I don't just play.
It did grates on me.
No,
seconds.
don't play it again.
I was thinking during that song, I kind of like that song better than the first one because of the wood block.
Because of the woodblock, come on.
Some guy is just like going to see them in concert. Some guy's like standing up there with a wood block.
Yeah.
He's
Women
crushed
are-
now, Will. His life achievement is playing woodblock on that song.
Women are throwing their drawers at him.
I hope Nicholas wasn't playing the wood block on that. It would make me feel bad. So yeah, but it's kind of a punky pop song that's all right, and would be better without the wood block. I think. I don't know. The bass is
More
weird.
cowbell.
The bass is weird too.
Yes.
It's got the weird kind of just gliding thing, and it's I don't know. It's not that good either.
You
But the
guys-
song's okay.
You guys were trying to talk me out of this band before we started listening, and I've heard the two songs, and I'm like,
Now
oh,
Chris can be like, all right,
yeah, I might be on board.
all right.
Chris,
So
how would you feel if we'd said we've discovered the best band ever? They're
yeah,
called Terry. Here they come.
Exactly,
We're all in
yeah.
love with them.
Right?
yeah, exactly.
It's all about managing expectations.
Absolutely a top 10 album, we could say.
So
So,
what is this tuneless crap? That's what you'd say if we'd said that.
it's somebody want to pick another track,
Let me see. I gotta
Ah.
power up my phone
or
here.
we could just pick, just do track 7.
No, that can't be good. Let's do track 1 because I think that's quite listenable. Moscow on Thames. Well, you might pronounce it differently there in the States, but
No, that's how we
Moscow
pronounce
on
it.
Thames.
We know. No.
I think
We
we
say
know it.
Moscow, don't we?
Oh,
Maybe Moscow.
Moscow on Thames.
Right.
Shaking brittle bones, shaking Baltic Sea. The royal disease arise with the feet. Inside a winter palace, behind the line. Love letters from the front. Collapse of the rain brings much of the same. Noonday hanging in the square of shame. A new start for the oligarch. What's a war without the poor? Who will fall? Which one will hang for me? Who will fall? Which one will hang? Moscow on the Thames, back to work again. A shirt front for the worst cunt. Baby boy for queen, Charlotte for the prince. A million young into the war mints. Who will fall? Which one will hang for me? Who will fall? Which one will hang?
Parental advisory. Explicit
Yes.
lyrics.
Right. There's one. There's a good signifier. You can tell that's not an American band.
Yeah.
That's not a word that is ever used. I mean, not ever, but
The Pixies, UMass.
okay. Well, of course, I didn't say not ever, but yeah, well, actually, I did. But after we fix it up in post production, I will not have said never ever. And but it's
Even though you just did. No, so now there's two
I
edits.
said it twice. God damn it! Can we? That's okay.
So yeah, I found I did some music journalism. So yeah, there's a guy named Al Montfort who's also in Dick Diver and this band, and it's somebody also from the band Total Control. I'm pretty sure that I've listened to Total Control and maybe played them on the podcast, and I thought they were pretty good. So that last song was pretty good, though, right? I think if they had some consistency, they could be good. But the album as a whole is it's odd, isn't it? It's kind of hard to latch on to.
Right. There are enough
Yeah.
elements taken separately about it that I like, but I think there's just maybe it's just the songwriting. I prefer something that's a little bit more tuneful, but I do like things that are a little off kilter. That always scores a few points with me, and maybe these are people to be reckoned with in their next albums, right?
Could be.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. Dick Diver had never played in the UK, as far as I know, but now Terry are coming over. And then the other guy from Dick Diver, one of the others, Al Mackey, has played in the UK, but I think he's gone back to Australia. Some of Dick Diver are in Sweden. And then Terry are coming. Why don't they all come at the same time to the UK, and then we can see them? But, well, you can't see them. I would be able to see them.
Yeah, especially the bands with common members. They could just do, maybe it would get complicated, but they could just kind of, every once in a while you see that, right? Where, the opening band has a common member with the headlining band, and so, somebody gets to play with two bands.
Yeah,
I've seen
those
that
tours
a
are fun,
couple
I think.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this could be a band, too, that would sound a lot different live than they sound on their quirky
That occurred to me
recordings,
too.
right? And it
Right.
might actually be decent live.
Well,
as long as there's
I've
not too
heard
much
that live,
woodblock.
They become something even more powerful. This
Yeah.
is judging from Cade on Bandcamp, the review.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they got to be careful with that wood block.
Next album's going to be all wood block.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know if they're going to bring the. I don't know if they're going to bring the wood blockist on tour.
Yeah,
Because that's they're going to have to give him a full share.
Baggage allowances on the modern airlines.
It'd be funny if the wood block guy writes all the songs and
Yeah.
just plays the wood blocks.
Yeah, that would be
Like,
cool.
he's yelling at the guy, the guitar guy, like you're playing
Yeah.
it all wrong.
Right. Yeah, he's kind of
Keep in time with me with my woodblock.
Exactly. It's like the conductor of the band. Everybody looks in his direction.
That's right.
Yep. All right. Greater than $0 worth for sure, right?
That's right. What are we at?
We're at, well,
90 minutes.
in pure recording time, we're at closing in on 90 minutes. It'll probably
How many British minutes is that?
well,
What's the exchange rate?
metric minutes.
Yes.
It's like 90%.
Okay, yeah.
By
Well,
the
once you
time-
cut my bits out, you should be down to about
Yeah.
75.
When we chop out all the inappropriate comments, and actually it's comments that don't rise to the level of expectations that I have for everybody, so we'll have to chop off a few minutes, but still $0 worth easily, right? All right, parting comments, anybody? Let's sign
I'm
off
going on
this thing.
location. Should I tell the listeners? No, what? Maybe it should be a surprise.
Up to you. Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
should, let's
I've got a trip to New York, to Brooklyn coming up. I'm going there in search of indie rock stardom.
that's
Wow.
a good thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no named artists playing. Well, named. Come on, this is indie. No one that I've heard of and already like playing while I'm there. But it's a chance to find maybe the stars of the future. So, going to go to a few underground shows, small venues, and see what's going on.
And this podcast is where the stars of the future come.
Pretty much.
We're like
Yeah.
America's Got Indie Talent.
Right.
Something
Star
like that.
makers.
Yeah, so scouting
There may
Brooklyn,
be
that's
some,
good.
Yeah, there may be some band
Yeah.
in Brooklyn struggling to get any attention. And the next thing they know, there's Craig from the Will's Band of the Week podcast.
Yeah, I'll walk in and
attendance.
then the whispers will go around. Hey, who's that at the bar?
You will be the Simon Cowell of our show, of America's Got Indie Talent. Because we
So in
always...
a few weeks' time, I'll be back, and hopefully I'll have some things to report on.
Because here in America, we always need British people to give us like bad news. Like whenever we have game shows, it's always like a British person that is like the meanest.
I wasn't
Interesting.
aware of that.
Yeah, so because like
Does
Simon
it soft-
Cowell on
does
American
it soften
Idol.
It?
No, it gives it more authority. I think.
Oh, okay.
Like people think that British people are smarter and therefore, like what was that one game show with that blonde woman that was really mean to people?
oh,
Like there was that, and then yeah,
you're right. You have proven your
there was a
theory.
there's a show like The Nanny where they not the friend whatever her name is but like they send this woman in to fix like childcare situations, and she's British too.
Oh, I
because
do
like the
remember
whole
that.
Mary Poppins thing, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway,
Well, Craig, that's your role now.
The British Nanny Poppins.
yes, exactly.
Right.
Okay.
All right. And I think next week is going to be a Grant's Underground, and we've got some really good stuff coming up, I got to tell you. It's going to be fun. Some good, fun bands. And then we're going to keep on rocking, right? Are we going to keep on rocking?
Yeah.
I'd never stopped.
Yeah. Craig, you're going to keep on rocking?
I'll be rocking. Yeah.
Okay, give us
Right here.
reports. Maybe you could give us, like, pre-production reports, like special behind-the-scenes reports before you're actually on the podcast next with, reports from Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah. Us Brits can be so critical, and when we give our feedback, our negative feedback, it's done with such authority that it can be quite hard to take. But
It is.
Right.
He's
right.
stepping into his new role. Like
Absolutely.
he's
He's
only
figured
known
it
about
out.
it for a minute. You
Yep.
know, and he's already
Yep.
performing.
That's right. Okay, we'll talk to everybody again next week with another edition of Will's Band of the Week. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
good night.
You can subscribe to the Will's Band of the Week podcast using iTunes or any other podcast app. All of our podcasts are also available directly on our webpage, willsband.net. You can contact us directly by email to willsband@yahoo.com, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter @willsband. The Will's Band of the Week podcast is brought to you every week from Fourth Bedroom Studios in Madison, Wisconsin. Our theme music was composed by Grant and performed by Grant and Will. Thanks for listening.